Hey, what's up, everybody? Been a little while since we've been on this channel. We were on the CM Brothers channel last night, so check that out. We did some Red versus Blue reviews. But I'm Owen Finch, and I'm here with.
AJ Talent, and this is a review of SpongeBob episodes.
So these are going to be episodes 15 through 18. We finally doing them. We said we had talked about for like months that we were going to do these reviews, and we're finally doing them.
Yeah, and this season 2, right?
Yeah, season 2.
Right.
Hopefully, though, everyone that is watching this can read, so because that kind of saves us time. But
Yeah.
um
Yeah, I want to say the dates these came out.
yep. All right, so pretty much we're gonna start with Big Pink Loser. And these episodes are weird. At least in this season, because a lot of the episodes are out of order. They came out like out of order, so it's really weird. um so Big Pink Loser, though, came out on November 16th, 2000. Which is crazy to think about, because I was
a month old.
yeah. And I was 4 years old when this episode came out. So that's crazy to think about. And like I said, we're gonna talk about this with the early seasons of SpongeBob. We're very biased because it's like our childhood, pretty
Oh, yeah,
much.
of course.
But so when we review these episodes, have like a biased standpoint on it. But it is what it is, I guess. Because it's especially this one, because I think we probably total I've watched this episode like 1,000 times.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it's a classic SpongeBob episode.
Yeah, a lot of memes in this one. Especially,
Yeah.
you were always a big fan of Patrick as a kid, so yeah, I know this was a big one for you.
Yep. So the episode starts off with that French narrator that we'll occasionally hear from time to time whenever he shows up. He's just basically talking about like how great the undersea is, and like how all these fish like are like accomplish like big things, and then it just shows Patrick and he's like, well, as if like, yeah, you're pretty much like, he basically just stomps all over his point that he was trying to make, pretty
Yeah,
much. I
Patrick
thought.
doesn't really do much. Patrick's basically the equivalent of a shut-in.
Yep. Um, and he
Hiding under
wakes.
a rock, if you will.
Yeah. Um. So he wakes up. And the mailman just. Think about this mailman. If he had just been paying attention, could have prevented this whole episode from happening.
I
Because
know, right? But no, mailmen don't do their freaking job.
yeah.
But anyway, he gets a package for an award, and Patrick thinks it's his award, even though he
Yeah.
didn't do shit.
Um. Because it's a trophy, and basically it goes through like a montage of him like telling people about his walk. Jellyfish, the jellyfish weren't happy about. Apparently, the jellyfish were jealous of it that he got an award and they didn't, because he got stunned.
Yeah,
Um,
there you go.
he tells
But
an island. He tells
yeah,
like
he's going around being a bragger about it. Like, he's not like in a mean way. He's happy with himself.
yeah.
And he didn't do shit.
Because he even goes and like tells the island that we like is that's like outside Bikini Bottom.
Yeah, and I love jokes like that.
Yeah. And he's gonna show SpongeBob the award, and SpongeBob, who's making like a deck of cards for of Gary. Patrick just comes in and like knocks all the whole deck of cards over. So um, SpongeBob just probably wasted what, like 3 hours of his life right there. So um,
well, SpongeBob already ruins everyone else's life. Might as well ruin his life every now and again.
yeah.
We'll get
So
into that next episode.
yeah. Um, So Patrick just tells SpongeBob that he got an award. So SpongeBob's asked what the award's for, and basically Patrick got the wrong award, because it was SpongeBob's name was on the award, and you. I do like that SpongeBob like wasn't like being a dick about it, because you could tell like he didn't want to tell Patrick like
Yeah,
that he.
like he didn't want to shatter his hopes and dreams, but
Yeah.
it's his. So
Yeah. So he's like, yeah. So he like tries to cheer him up by like saying that ice cream's also shiny, basically trying to distract him. So Patrick tries to find the
okay, go get ice cream.
yeah.
Eventually, Patrick opens up his closet, and a flood of trophies come out.
Yep.
And Patrick starts to cry because he's a loser.
Yeah.
Big pink loser.
Yeah. See, there you go. We tied in the episode.
Yeah.
Which is I mean, they didn't say it, but I like that this episode like fit the theme of what the plot was pretty much. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, SpongeBob, tries to cheer Patrick up and says like one day he'll get an award, but Patrick realizes like he's basically has no chance of getting an award because he doesn't do anything. So,
SpongeBob decides to get Patrick a job at the Krusty Krab.
I do like the jokes though they did like in between, like where SpongeBob tried to get Patrick to think of something, and he's like, "I want to defeat the giant monkey man and save the ninth dimension." And SpongeBob's like, "Think smaller," and then he just says, "I'm going to defeat the little monkey man and save the eighth dimension." Like he really went smaller on that one.
Yeah.
So eventually,
went down by one number.
Yeah.
So eventually, that was a pretty funny one. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So eventually,
I like when they first get to the Krusty Krab is Patrick says like, "Oh boy, I'm already making 10 cents an hour," and SpongeBob's like, "Yeah, that's great. I didn't have to. I started having to pay Mr. Krabs whatever dollars."
No, actually, that's not.
Is that, like they're not actually making money. They're like paying Mr. Krabs to work there.
Yeah. It was actually Patrick had to pay $50 an hour and SpongeBob had to pay $100 an hour.
Right. Yeah, I fucked up the saying, but you get it.
Squidward even walks by and they tell pretty much SpongeBob's like, "Yeah, guess what? Patrick got a job pretty much," and Squidward's just like, "Yeah, I guess we just quit." So
and he's back next episode.
Yeah. So pretty much too, like Patrick's just messing up all over the place, trying to get his an award. When he tries to give food to a customer, he keeps eating it. And
honestly, I would do that.
Yeah. And when he answers the phone for customers, they keep asking, "Is this the Krusty Krab?" And he says, "No, this is Patrick." And SpongeBob comes over like, "Yeah, that's the name of the restaurant." And Patrick just realizes he fucked up again. And that's become a meme now where, someone will answer.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Is this the Krusty Krab? And then no, this is Patrick. And one of the ones I really that's not the I mean that's probably my favorite one, but one that doesn't get talked about enough is when Patrick's trying to sweep and he's like using the wrong side of the broom to sweep, and some guy comes over like with a milkshake and he's like, "Hey, it's just
Stupid Town."
Yeah. It was pretty great. And then SpongeBob gets another like stack of trophies delivered at his work too, which is
man, that's mail service is really on point.
Yeah. And this pisses Patrick off, so he basically like smashes all the dust like in all the customers' faces. And basically when Patrick was like, freaking out, like SpongeBob like takes him back to the kitchen because he's losing it pretty much. Why don't you talk about what happens when they go in the kitchen?
When they go in the kitchen, they decide to have Patrick open a jar.
Yeah.
But I love the joke where this is also kind of a meme where Patrick's trying to find the lid and he keeps putting it all over the place. Honestly, whenever I worked with my dad on like a construction site, that was me. He's like, "Put your hand there. No, there. Like that was me.
Yep.
And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Yep.
Speak English.
Yeah. And then SpongeBob's even like, "Do exactly as I do," and he's like opening the lid, and Patrick opens the lid, and he thinks he broke it, but he realizes he did it, and they celebrate this accomplishment as if like they like won the Super Bowl or something like that. So I do love after this happens, like Patrick even says touchdown, referencing like they won like a big football game or something like that. So Patrick talks about how he's never gonna forget this, but apparently he forgot about it because it was never brought up again ever in the show.
None of these are ever brought up again. But the next day, we find out.
Actually, SpongeBob also says too, because this ties in, if you keep doing exactly what I do, you'll get an award in no time. So what happened the next day?
So Patrick shows up, walking and singing just like SpongeBob, dressed just like SpongeBob. And this might have been later, but his rock is painted like a pineapple.
Yeah. And SpongeBob obviously like realizes this, and he's basically just doing like a bunch of dumb stuff pretty much, just to see like if Patrick's copying him. Like,
Yeah, he puts his hand on the stove and so Patrick does it too, and then Patrick ends up like screaming in pain.
Yeah. And we find out like it was like a fake hand that he put on there. And SpongeBob, this is when SpongeBob really like finally like figures it out. And you know, Patrick says he's doing this pretty much so that way he can get an award. But SpongeBob does like basically everything that he can to you know, get Patrick to stop copying him. I even like it at one point where Patrick like messes up one by accident and doesn't copy him for a second, and then SpongeBob like said something else, and then he just copied him, and SpongeBob like was like, "Damn it!" like pretty much, and SpongeBob like loses it because he's thinking inside his head saying, "At least I'm safe inside my mind," and Patrick like thinks the same thing, and this is like when they just run and leave.
I think that was a funny joke.
And when they leave, when we see Squidward reading a newspaper, and he's like, "Well, I guess it's safe to go back in now." So really, he didn't quit. He just probably like took different hours that they did, so that way he didn't have to work the same hours.
Or he's just like, "All right, I'll have Patrick work my shift for me," pretty much.
Yeah. And then SpongeBob pretty much too was just trying to get Patrick to stop copying him by like doing like a bunch of like extreme stuff, like doing like the jump rope thing and like falling apart, hitting himself off the head with a hammer. And I love that this was a funny joke. Like, SpongeBob's even like, "Not so easy being me now, is it, Patrick?" And Patrick's like, "I used to do this way before I started copying you," which I actually believe like he was hitting himself over the head with a hammer. Like,
oh, probably.
Yeah. And this is when that pineapple scene happens, but then SpongeBob wants to get the old Patrick back, pretty much, because the new Patrick's a jerk, pretty much. So he decides to act like Patrick, I think
the scene was really sad because Patrick was like, "Who would ever want to act like a loser?" or something like that.
Yeah, and like Patrick even like says like, "I was nowhere near getting an award until the moment I started copying you." So then I like, because right after he says this, we have a trophy delivery, and what happens with this trophy delivery?
Well, the mailman, who's great at his job apparently, delivers it to SpongeBob, and this time it's for Patrick, who won the award of doing absolutely nothing at all.
Longer than anyone else too, apparently. So Patrick's all happy about it, and I really love too because he was so happy about winning this award that he just like throws it away pretty much like it's nothing, because they like take all their clothes off and like the award just vanishes in the thin air pretty much.
I know, right? So cool. And Patrick was like, "I'm gonna go maintain my my record," and then just goes back to sleeping a rock forever.
And then afterwards, the narrator even says, "So you thought I was kidding, huh? No, greatness can even be found even under a rock." Like trying to like, I feel like the narrator like was like, see,
like he's like, "Oh, cool. No, this goes back to my morals."
Yeah.
All right, I totally meant this. Totally meant this.
Yeah. But this episode I think is like awesome because it's like one of the best episodes of the series. And it's
very funny.
Got a lot of funny jokes in it. I'm gonna give it an A+. I think there's basically nothing wrong with this episode, really. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna give it an A.
Yeah. And then we have the next episode, which came out the same date, Bubble Buddy. So maybe this was Patrick trying to. Maybe this episode messed up SpongeBob so much he wanted to ruin everyone else's lives, because this ties into this episode.
So basically, I guess Patrick is off maintaining his award because he's gone. So Squidward, I get. SpongeBob is really sad scene where he's like doing things by himself.
Yeah.
No. He's doing stuff with Bubble Buddy later. My bad.
Yeah. But SpongeBob, basically he comes up with a holiday every day, even if he has to make one up.
Lee Garrettson Day. That's also kind of a meme.
Yeah. And actually, that's actually like a legitimate like Viking too and stuff if you look him up. So that's pretty cool.
It cool? Wow, that's a hilarious joke.
Yeah. So like I said, like he tries to like basically hang out with everyone on Leif Erikson. I guess too he got Leif Erikson Day off too, which is funny. It kind of make more sense if you think about it too for Squidward to have to make up a holiday so he didn't have to go to work, but whatever. Patrick isn't there because he went to get more giant paper. I really love too, like he's so stupid too. He actually wrote like when he couldn't think of something like on the paper. That was pretty damn funny. So he tries to hang out with Sandy, and she went south for the winter. And like SpongeBob's confused about this because it's water and it's not even snowing out, but I guess it snowed in a tree dome, which was weird.
Yeah.
And he goes to ask Squidward, but Squidward wasn't having it, so so SpongeBob decides to make a buddy for himself, and he tries all these different buddies: stick buddy, rock buddy, sink buddy. But who does he make instead?
Bubble Buddy, who
Yeah.
even though he only shows up in like this one episode, really, like he shows up again, I think, like later on, but not for another like 10 years real time.
Yeah.
But like he shows up, like if you've played Battle for Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob's like whole thing is he makes bubble moves because Bubble Buddy taught him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that like even though he's only in this one episode, he had such a big part in like this big video game that like everyone loved from the childhood.
Yeah.
Kind of like Doodle Bob in like Nicktoons Unite. He's only in one episode, but he has like a whole power move.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. So this is where everyone's lives go to shit, pretty much though, because they Bubble Buddy ruins them. So it starts at the question.
One in one case.
Huh?
Ends one in one case.
Yeah. So, I'll talk about the Krusty Krab one. So he goes to the Krusty Krab, which pissed Squidward off because it's SpongeBob's day off, and he's going there anyway. So Bubble Buddy goes to order food. Squidward's like thinks this is ridiculous that he has to take an order from an inanimate object, and he's like, his money's good here. And Mr. Krabs, who was in the cash register like counting the money or something like that, says, "What are you talking about, Squidward? Everyone's money's good here." And we see like that they've taken like an order from like someone who like robbed a bank, like a prisoner who like robbed a bank, pretty much. So then he says, "At the Krusty Krab, we serves all kinds."
It makes you wonder why Plankton didn't just buy a Krabby Patty.
Yeah. So he says, "At the Krusty Krab, we serve all kinds," which kind of, now that you know the stuff you know now, sounds. I guess it doesn't sound wrong, but you get what I mean. Like there's more that goes into that now when you hear it nowadays, because back then you didn't know what we're talking about. So, then basically SpongeBob decides to say that they're gonna have one of everything. Oh no, Squidward and Mr. Krabs too like threatens to make Squidward's life miserable if he doesn't do the order, even if he quits.
Wow. So yeah, Mr. Krabs pretty brutal.
Yeah. SpongeBob, Bubble Buddy is gonna have one of everything, and Mr. Krabs
like super picky.
Yeah, and Mr. Krabs is happy about this, so he like tattoos like a heart, saying he loves Bubble Buddy. But yeah, so pretty much Bubble Buddy's like super picky, like he's like lactose intolerant, so he can't have cheese. He's got to have ketchup on like the left side, like under the patties.
Yeah, he needs soda to have like a bendy straw.
Yeah. And Squidward's like upset that he has to basically provide like perfect service. I bet too, like when Squidward left for a second, he didn't even make a fresh patch of Krabby Patties. I have a feeling like he just took the cheese off, like.
Probably.
But so eventually they eat it, and at the end when they leave, Mr. Krabs is actually trying to be like teach Squidward like a lesson from this, saying like if you provide excellent service in like your restaurant or just in life, you're gonna be just as successful as me. So Mr. Krabs is actually coming off pretty genuine here, but then
get like a good moral, and then
the money. What happened?
It's bubble money, so it just pops.
Yeah. I even love too when Squidward just goes, "At least they left a tip," and the tip pops. So then, yeah, that moral went right out the window in Mr. Krabs' eyes, because which I know we talk about it. The joke is that Mr. Krabs loves money, but this is actually like it actually makes sense for him to be pissed, because pretty much
he just like spent so much of his resources, and then it's just like, okay, cool, I didn't get any payment.
Yeah.
Bubble Buddy's kind of an asshole.
Yeah. But then Goon Lagoon happens. And why don't you say what happens to everybody's lives at Goon Lagoon?
So Bubble Buddy ends up washing Pearl's hand after she just got a handshake from a smelly rock star or something.
Yeah.
Ends up accidentally calling all the bodybuilders and Larry their fat, making them self-conscious.
Yep.
He ends up going into the porta potty for 2 hours. making everyone in line super happy. I love the two jokes there where SpongeBob keeps saying it's his first time, and the guy next to him is like, "Congratulations."
Yeah.
And, the one where it's like the line's so big that they like people start selling food.
Yeah.
All waiting for the bathroom.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And one guy and Bubble Buddy is tasked with waiting with a guy who's like buried under sand, making sure the tide doesn't get too high. And rip that guy because he actually dies.
Yeah.
How shitty is it to be a fish that drowns?
Yeah, I know, right?
That's like a human who drowns on air, like.
Yeah, right. Which is why we talk about this. This is something that is like one plot hole that continuously gets talked about in SpongeBob. How do they have a beach underwater? Like, it makes no sense. So pretty much everyone's pissed about this. I even love too. One of the guys says like he poisoned our water supplies, burned our crops, and delivered like a plague on all our houses. And then like everyone's like, "What the hell he did?" And then he's like,
"No, but we're gonna wait around to find out."
I love to though, like, even though like that's still pretty bad though, they didn't go like that though when they saw that like he killed somebody. Like
I know, right? Like the guy who was like buried under sand, like his ghost shows up and like flies away. Guess he went to Hawaii with the guy from Death Note.
Yeah, and the people from Bird Box and stuff. So.
Oh right, yeah.
So it's like, huh?
Forgot about them.
Yeah. And then but yeah, I like to like he shows up and like no one was like horrified about this. So, there you go. So they basically are gonna cause a riot on the beach. They tip the lifeguards like set over, and they're gonna beat the crap out of the lifeguard. And Squidward actually is like, wait a minute, don't take this useless anger out on him. It's SpongeBob and Bubble Buddy that we should be angry at. So I think Squidward just like basically saved that lifeguard's life pretty much.
They were gonna kill that guy.
Yeah. So they all have like needles and they're gonna pop it. And I like to first like SpongeBob really doesn't understand what's going on at first when he sees like everyone show up with needles. Like,
I know, right?
So but when he finally figures it, he doesn't even figure it out either. Like Pearl pretty much just had to like show him what was gonna happen. So he tries to like inflate Bubble Buddy and like take off, and that didn't go too well because they only got like an inch away from the chair. So that really went well. So they all chant "Pop the bubble," and SpongeBob tries to like talk him out of it by saying that he's my friend and I love him. And he asks like, haven't you ever had a special friend? And everybody who's had like inanimate objects gets sentimental. Like Mr. Krabs has like a nickel that he's never spent. But everyone, that's like the only one that really we can talk about because like he's the only main character really that.
Yeah, everyone else just like, yeah.
Yeah. So like SpongeBob's like thinking too like they're gonna be so sentimental that they're not gonna want to pop him. I just love it because it's a nice comedic scene where they just decide to still kill Bubble Buddy anyways. Like, and they just toss SpongeBob and. Why don't you talk about what happens next?
Bubble Buddy grabs the guy who's gonna pop someone's arms. Someone's about to pop Bubble Buddy, and Bubble Buddy grabs his arm and
it was
talking.
It was Squidward.
Was it? Okay, I was thinking it might be Mr. Krabs. So Bubble Buddy's just like, all right, this is getting a little too out there. I'm out. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Just thank you to SpongeBob, and so I guess we're just gonna ignore the fact that Bubble Buddy watched the guy die.
Yeah, right.
What was he just like silently staring at the guy?
Yeah, right.
Does he freaking drown? Holy shit! Bubble Buddy is kind of a messed up dude.
Yeah, and it's funny too because it's maybe it's SpongeBob that made him. SpongeBob's the one that raised him. Maybe SpongeBob's the one that made him messed up. I don't know what happened. Like,
and it's kind of weird that like him being alive suddenly makes it all okay.
Yeah, right.
Like everyone's just like, oh, okay. I mean, you still like completely ruined a lot of us. So I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, because afterwards, like, Squidward's even like, he's alive. And SpongeBob's like, of course, well, how else could he tell such funny jokes? Everyone just kind of walks off, like, yeah, fine, whatever.
Yeah, like, a guy's dead, but whatever.
Yeah. He just left you waiting at the bathroom for like 2 hours. He pretty much, he just I don't know. Yeah, but Squidward's like in shock because like I feel like it makes sense for Squidward to be the one in shock because like he was the one that went to pop him and like his touched his
Squidward almost killed the man.
Yeah, and SpongeBob takes off and you know because he's all sentimental because it's you know it's literally feels like it was just this morning I held his bottle or something like that, and like SpongeBob leaves like a trail of bubbles behind, and Squidward doesn't really know what to do. He starts like talking to the bubbles because I guess he's horrified now because he thinks all bubbles are alive now. Well, so that could be an episode one day. Bubbles
Pearl popped a bubble. So did Pearl like murder a bubble in cold blood?
Yeah, right. Maybe that was like Bubble Buddy's like I don't know nephew, cousin. But yeah, this episode was pretty great too. I give it a B plus. I thought it was great.
B plus as well. I think it's a little weird that this episode is the one that was like so many people remember, but like it was definitely good.
Yeah. So it is weird. Then we have I should have been scrolling down as we were talking, but I forgot to.
Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 3.
The
Reckoning.
Yep. Because there was two in season 1, and this one came out on November 27th, 2000. And what happens here is Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy are gonna go away for
their honeymoon.
Yeah, pretty much. They that's what's implied pretty much.
They're like an old married couple, which hey, representation in 2000. There you go. Good job.
Yeah. So there you go. And the narrator that narrates this is like that fish that we see on the news from time to time in SpongeBob. And like the realistic fish head. And he even he's like, wait a minute, if the heroes are gone, who's gonna watch the Mermaid later? And I think we all saw this one coming a mile away, even if you were like a month old. It was SpongeBob and Patrick, which that was a mistake.
I know, right? Well, first of all, why did they trust them to do it anyway?
Yeah, right. And they're basically ready to to take on this great responsibility. But they find the wall of gadgets where they keep all their gadgets. Which if you play the PC version of Battle for Bikini Bottom, you actually get to see that. You see this again actually. I believe it's when you go into that coral place or whatever. You collect these gadgets and have to put them on the wall and stuff like that. They're gonna touch them, but then they're not allowed to play with them because it's dangerous stuff that could kill you pretty much. So SpongeBob's like, well, what about the orb of confusion? And he turns it on, and it's exactly what you would think it would be. It caused him to get all confused. And I even love to it's Mermaid Man that has to tell him that it causes great confusion because the joke in SpongeBob is Mermaid Man's basically kind of lost it in a way because of his age and stuff. So then, of course, Patrick says, what about the invisible boatmobile? And Barnacle Boy's like, dude, pretty much says, dude, when we say don't touch anything, we mean don't touch it like anything. So they give him the keys and they leave. And why don't you talk about what happens next?
They find their arch nemesis, Man Ray, trapped in what they say it was, like tartar sauce?
Yeah, frozen tartar sauce, yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, if you don't know, Man Ray's Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy are like parodies of Aquaman and Aqualad, so Man Ray's a parody of Black Manta. So
yeah.
I'm a comic nerd, so that's always fun.
Yeah.
But Patrick starts to unfreeze Man Ray by accident.
Yeah,
but not that. Turn it off. His already down to his chest is unfrozen.
Yeah, because SpongeBob said he had so many questions to ask him, so plus Patrick, being an idiot, just unfreezes him because he's like, well, you said you had a question. Which, Man Ray thinks he's free, but he realizes he's just frozen. And, SpongeBob and Patrick tell him, we can't release you because you're evil. And then, basically, Man Ray just says, yeah, well, I'm good. And he's even threatening them to, get him out of there. And SpongeBob's just like, yeah, works for me. let's let this villain go.
So they do, but then as soon as they let him go, he jumps at them, and then SpongeBob just grabs the remote that for his tickle belt, and that basically makes him immobilized with laughter.
Yeah, and it's on like it was on like an episode 17 of the show. So SpongeBob and Patrick are like talking about it, and Man Ray like wants to develop a plan to trick them to being good, so that way he can get them to take the belt off, because if he doesn't have the belt on, he can just be as evil as he wants, pretty much. So he even says like
a lot of good Patrick moments here.
Yeah. So Man Ray uses those acting classes to use him. Pretty much the acting classes are crap, which I think was supposed to be the joke. But like SpongeBob and Patrick are so stupid, they just instantly believe it. So this is where we'll just pretty much just save the Patrick moments, because that's what the next few minutes are. SpongeBob does a lesson where actually I'll let you talk, because I got to talk about the last like mean Patrick moment. So I'll let you talk about this one.
This is the wallet one?
Yep.
Yeah. So Patrick drops his wallet, and Man Ray attempts to return it, but Patrick is saying, "It's not my wallet."
Yeah.
And he says, like, is this your license? Yes. Is it your name, Patrick Star? Yes. Then this is your wallet. Nope, not mine.
Yeah.
And
I even love to
try to beat the shit out of Patrick.
Yeah. I even love to, like, even Patrick even says, like, after he like says like, this is your ID and stuff, that makes sense to me, and then Man Ray's just like, then take it, and he just says, it's not my wallet. It's like,
which is really funny, yeah.
And like, I like how Man Ray's the one that gets punished too. Like, because he threatens to rip his arms off, and like SpongeBob like uses the tickle belt. It's like, good people don't threaten to rip people's arms off.
I feel like even good people at that point would have done that.
Yeah. So so Man Ray's plan. I feel like too Man Ray couldn't plan around how stupid Patrick was gonna be. So so then Man Ray tries to. They do a scene where like he's gonna help Patrick like lift a package, and Patrick keeps dropping it on his foot. So then he's like, what's in that package anyways? And Patrick just says, my wallets. And then he beats the crap out of Patrick. And then SpongeBob can't come up with another lesson, so Patrick does something completely unrelated and says, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 100. What is it? And Man Ray gets it wrong, so he pushes the tickle button like repeatedly. And let's just say, I think no matter what number Man Ray said, it was gonna be wrong. So
yeah, no, because Patrick, I like how Patrick was actually really pissed off.
Yeah. So SpongeBob and Patrick are fighting over the remote, and it breaks. And I guess like when they broke the remote, the frequency like rose. So
he's just like uncontrollable laughter.
Yeah.
He says please, and I guess that's good enough for them. So SpongeBob opens up his belt, and he's free.
Yeah. And I even love too, like, when he's going for the weapons, like SpongeBob's like, yeah, we're not good people have no use for weapons like those. And he grabs like the glove and like some type of like bomb or something that's like attached to it or something, and uses it on SpongeBob and Patrick. And basically he says the only thing I'm good at is being evil, and he's just gonna pretty much go run roughshod over Bikini Bottom. So SpongeBob and Patrick says that the only person that can stop him is Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, but since they're not there, they gotta play the wolves. So they go to use the invisible boatmobile, and I like this joke because SpongeBob, says that he doesn't have a license, so Patrick like pulls out an invisible license. So I guess if SpongeBob and Patrick got pulled over, they could have just said, "Yeah, I got an invisible license right here." So they got to take
an invisible boat. Yeah, invisible license, that works.
Yeah.
But they don't really end up doing anything because Man Ray tries to rob a bank, but whenever he tries to actually rob it, he's burst out in laughter.
Yeah. So I guess what we take from this, and SpongeBob and Patrick don't do anything either because they accidentally use the orb of confusion on themselves, so they're kind of out of it for a while. Yeah. But I guess what we're gonna take from this is that because of that, because the remote broke and he was like repeatedly like laughing, it's kind of like in a sense like as if he got like
conditioned him, kind of like how like that experiment with like dogs, like you ring a bell before food, like they'll start to like salivate. Kind of like that. Whenever he does a bad thing, he starts laughing.
Yeah. So yeah,
or like he's just like, oh, whatever. While I'm here, just open me up a savings account.
Yeah. So, in a sense, SpongeBob and Patrick did do something. It's just they, because had they not broken the remote, then he wouldn't have gotten conditioned to be, good.
So SpongeBob and Patrick show up and he apologizes or whatever. He's like, all right, well, I guess I'm a good guy now.
Yeah, he takes his head off.
Next time we see him, he's a bad guy, but whatever.
He takes his head off and gives it to SpongeBob, and SpongeBob's all proud because he thinks he did it just like the old Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy did. Think about it, that's all Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy had to do too to make sure they never had to deal with Man-Ray ever again. Like all they had to do,
torture him with laughter. I mean, yeah, that's a little extreme. I can see why they didn't.
Yeah. And when he goes to tell Patrick about it, we see that Patrick is still feeling the effects of the orbs of confusion, but even though it's off. So the joke is that Patrick is just so dumb that he still feels the effects of it regardless. So, I thought this episode was, actually pretty damn awesome. Because it was just basically all the Patrick memes in it, and I did like the storyline with Man-Ray where he had it. You got to kind of see, even though it was only like a few minutes, pretty much. I mean, he doesn't really become good. He just has no choice but to be good, pretty much.
I know, he doesn't even want to. So that's the story. Someone doesn't want to be good, too bad, make him.
Yep. So I give it an A-. I thought it was, Yeah,
I think it's a little bit better than Bubble Buddy, but not quite as good as Big Pink Loser. So yeah, I give it an A- as well.
Yep. And then we have I don't want to say one of the most controversial SpongeBob episode in this batch, Squirrel Jokes, which came out on the same date. So why don't you say how the episode opens?
It starts off with a comedy night at the Krusty Krab, which I guess they've always done,
I think it's pretty much like Mr. Krabs wants to make money, and I guess comedy was in, so he just tried it out. So there you go.
SpongeBob is up for his shot at making jokes, but Sandy's in the crowd. She's being really supportive of him, even though no one's laughing at him.
Yeah.
So, but he sees oh, Sandy, I can make a squirrel joke, and then he starts making offensive jokes.
And I think this works because Sandy's really the only one that's there that is a squirrel. So since it's underwater, no one really knows what a squirrel is and stuff like that. Kind of in a sense,
everyone loves it except her because she's kind of a little offended.
Yeah. So Sandy goes to SpongeBob and is what the hell? You just completely made fun of me out here. And I actually because SpongeBob actually has a point. Sometimes you gotta laugh at yourself every once in a while.
Yeah, and I like how in this episode SpongeBob isn't the bad guy. He's not being a jerk. He's just he's oh, I'm gonna make a couple jokes at my friend.
Yeah, it's
he was being mean about it.
Yeah, it's just basically your friends basically giving you shit all the time and stuff that.
Yeah, SpongeBob was roasting his friend. He didn't think anything would come of it. So
yeah.
What happens with him later on is a little unfair, I think. He probably shouldn't have done that, but I don't think he's evil for it,
Yeah, because what happens is the people in the audience who were clearly there that night. I mean, obviously it could have been too someone went home and told their friends about this joke and took it too seriously. Basically, I treated Sandy differently. Some of his jokes were
Yeah, she goes to the grocery store and everyone's treating her like she's stupid.
Yeah, and that she's smelly and all that stuff. So Sandy even goes and tells SpongeBob this, where people have been treating me different, and Patrick comes in, and I kind of like to Patrick's who's the dumbest one out of the whole group.
Yeah, he's hey, stupid.
Yeah, it was pretty damn funny. And then when Sandy doesn't respond because she's pissed off, Patrick just walks away and says squills. So
may or may not be racist, but we'll leave that for another time.
Yeah. So then Sandy tries to get
starfish racist against squirrels. All right, I guess we'll never know.
So then Sandy tries to get SpongeBob to tell the other jokes, but pretty much too the whole reason SpongeBob's doing this is because the squirrel jokes are really the only jokes he can tell that are funny, because all the other jokes really aren't funny at all.
Yeah, so. And to be fair to SpongeBob, he does try to do other jokes.
Yeah, but everyone's just kind of get on with the squirrel jokes.
Demanding more squirrel jokes.
And I like to when he's on the stage, he's trying to like decide like whether he wants to have a comedy career. Which is kind of funny because he's only like done 2 comedy shows. Like it's your career.
I know, right?
Or
like
your friends.
he's doing a comedy show at the place he already works. So
yeah. So it's not like he's making any more money than he already is. So
although I mean I guess it kind of makes sense. Like he probably should have not done it after she said she wasn't cool with it. So I mean I guess he's kind of at fault for that.
yeah. Because one of the typical jokes we should say is like squirrels are so dumb that like they couldn't even change a light bulb. Because I think that's like a joke that like a lot of people say like
how many blank does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Yeah, so that's basically what it was. But they probably can't say it that way because of copyright reasons and such. So SpongeBob even like says to Sandy like which is probably like this was kind of a dick move. He shouldn't have like called Sandy out like on the stage in front of everybody. Like saying that the crowd loves these jokes. So then when Sandy says like I understand what's going on, SpongeBob doesn't take it the way that he that she thinks. So Sandy after the show she puts about got backstage like quick too because he went backstage and he just found the note like
yeah I know right.
And we see that Sandy like basically writes a note that's we instantly know is bullshit, saying that
she's like, oh yeah, the jokes are funny. In fact, come over to my house later and we'll have like tea or something.
Yeah. So yeah, what did you say? What happens when SpongeBob like gets to the house?
He gets there and we see Hillbilly Sandy.
Yeah.
Like impressed like slacks and like like just acting like a complete idiot.
Yeah. So and she really gets him by she was gonna basically kill SpongeBob because which that's even a little extreme because she takes his helmet off thinking it's a vase because he bought flowers and SpongeBob basically is pleading for his life to asking for water, but Sandy's like so stupid she doesn't remember what sea creatures need. Or
she's acting stupid, yeah.
Yeah. So then eventually when he says it, she just like puts a hose in his mouth and like
starts pumping him full of water.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh man, those squirrel jokes are so funny. And he's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But I guess she doesn't. But Sandy's a little cruel because she lets him blow up to the size of her freaking house.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So then he says like, no more squirrel jokes because pretty much he almost died and like blew up. So I feel like he got the message pretty much. So.
Yeah. Jesus. So next night or whatever, there's another company, and SpongeBob has a bunch of bandages over him, and he decides not to tell squirrel jokes out of fear of his life.
Yeah.
So that's a good moral. Oh,
he does tell one, but like I guess I guess I wonder if he's like, yeah, Sandy, I'm gonna tell this squirrel joke real quick, but I bet Sandy, but he tells it in like a way where it's not like offensive or anything like that, like
Yeah. And like he's like taking shots at everyone, so he takes one shot at Sandy. Like I guess that's the moral of the story. Don't bully, just like shit on everyone equally.
Yeah, I guess. So there you go.
I feel like it's a weird way of doing it, but it's a good moral, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not don't make fun of anyone. It's be fair about it.
Yeah.
Take shots. Make jokes. That's fine.
So that was this episode. It's weird though, like these batch of episodes are memorable, but if you look at like the 2 of the episodes as a whole, I mean, not that the episodes are bad or anything, but like the episodes like aren't as good. Like they have good moments, but they aren't as good as like a lot of people remember them. Like I think
I feel like Bubble Buddy shouldn't be as like iconic as it is.
Yeah.
But I give the Squirrel Jokes episode a B+. What about you?
Yeah, probably a B+. And funny thing is, I think right after this episode came out, I don't know if it was there was like a book of SpongeBob that like had like a list of jokes in them. So that's what this episode brought out. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of this batch of SpongeBob episodes. We're gonna try to do this like more.
Yeah, it's been a while since the last one, but
Yeah. So we'll try to announce each time too, like what episodes we'll be reviewing. So let me.
So Owen, for these 4 episodes, what would you rate the batch as?
I'll go I'm gonna go A minus.
Yeah, I think that's
Just
fair.
for the
All 4 A minus. I think that's pretty good.
yeah. Just for alone, like you know, um, like the stuff, like the Big Pink Loser episode really
Yeah,
made.
really good Patrick badge.
Yeah. Um, and the Bubble Buddy one like has a lot of iconic moments in it, but it's not like a great episode or anything like that. So I'm just gonna try to go real quick and find what the next batch of episodes, because I want to try to announce that each time. Um, it's just my phone was being really slow, so.
While you're doing that, this is on the Owen Talkinator channel. If you want to see more of me and him, check out the CM Brothers because we do Death Note and like Red vs. Blue and stuff over there.
And then on this one, check out for the Breaking Bad season reviews and hopefully the movie Monday reviews that we're trying to do. Hopefully.
And his wrestling channel, Wrestling 1444, just had his 2000th video, and he spent like a month editing the big video. So go check that.
And that'll be in the description box as well. Okay, so here's the next batch of episodes we'll be reviewing: Grandma's Kisses, Squidville. That will be a fun one. No Free Rides, and I'm Your Biggest Fanatic.
Yeah, I really like all those. I already know what those are, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Yep. Not sure when we're gonna do them, but that's pretty much it for the video. And AJ already did all my plugs, and he's got nothing to plug himself because he's gonna make videos.
Not uploaded in like a year, but I will eventually, probably. So
Yeah. So that's pretty much it.
Probably. Yeah, I will.
Do you want to know how long this video was? Do you know how we talked about how we thought this video was going to be just as long as the Out of Mind review?
I know. I really thought it was, man. This was like a 45-minute thing, huh?
Oh, yeah. I forgot. You can see it on your screen. Yeah, it's like...
No, I can't.
Oh, it's like, yeah, roughly 45 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow. I just took like a guess. Yeah. So, Out of Mind was like 15 minutes. So, damn. I really thought it was going to be short. Oh, well.
We tried. So, don't say we don't try to be short, but we just...
Yeah, we ramble.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is it for this one. See you guys later.
Yep, see you later.